and welcome to The Rest is Football with Micah Richards, Alan Shearer and me, Gary Lineker. We're recording this on Thursday evening after a couple of fascinating nights of Champions League football. We're down to the last 8 teams in the competition. 2 English teams remain in Villa and Arsenal. Liverpool, surprisingly, I think, went out of the competition after losing, of course, to PSG on penalties. Let's start with that one. Alan, you were at Anfield. I wondered, even before the game slightly, I thought, they're so used to Liverpool turning those games round in the second leg. The fact that they were actually leading going into that game, whether it made a slight difference. I don't know. What was the atmosphere like?
The atmosphere was brilliant. I mean, it is fantastic at Anfield on European nights. It's bloody amazing. But, and it's a big but, if Liverpool don't score within the first 10 or 15 minutes, then that is, I think, part of the opposition's job is to try at your best and quieten the crowd. And Liverpool had a couple of big chances. Mo Salah missed one when Mendes, I think it was, who cleared it off the line. And once they didn't score, and you start to think, uh-oh, and then they get hit on the break. But it was great to begin with, and I have to say I thought it was just great to be there. Great football from 2 really good teams. But I think over the 2 legs, the best team went through. The best team deserved to go through, albeit they had to go and do it the hard way with penalties. But really, really impressed with Paris Saint-Germain.
I thought it was a great game of football, Micah.
Yeah, I sort of echo what Alan said. The game is give sort of the overview, but I just like the fact how PSG play. I think when you lose Mbappe, we all thought it was going to be the downfall of PSG, but then they go and bring in Kvaratskhelia from Napoli. And people was questioning whether he was going to be the same player from when he left Napoli, but he's coming there, he's fresh. Young Barcola, who we talked about him at the Euros, and Mbappe was sort of taking his shine a little bit. I thought he played well over the 2 legs. Dembele, how many times have we questioned him and talked about him? He's playing some of the best football of his career. But then you go in midfield, Vitinha. He's a different player who we saw from the player at Wolves. Yes, he was a little bit younger. He's going to improve. And then Nuno Mendes, left-back, I believe is the best left-back in world football because he can attack and he can defend. And if you look at the balance of the team now, it just looks perfect. You know, that the key word is team. How many times we've said about PSG, it's a team of individuals. And I just think Luis Enrique has done a terrific job to get all the superstars out, but to get players in who are buying into what they're trying to do. And they're paying dividend for that. They're a great watch. They really are.
They really are. Luis Enrique has done an amazing job. I mean, obviously he's already won the Champions League as coach of Barcelona a few years ago, and that was in Berlin, I think, against Juventus, if I remember rightly. I was at that one, and fabulous performance. But to come to PSG, a club that you would have thought, wouldn't you, losing, Messi gone, Mbappe in particular, who'd been their talisman for so long, moves to Real Madrid, and you'd think, God, it's going to be so hard for him to manage and to improve them in any way. But they're seriously, I think they were probably the best 2 sides that I've seen in the tournament. You could possibly say Barcelona as well at times, although playing a kind of extraordinarily brave way, which might or might not pay off as we go deeper into the tournament. But I thought for 70 minutes, the game, until perhaps the players tired a little bit, and fear creeps in a little bit, don't you? You don't want to blow it at the end of a match. I thought for 70, 75 minutes, that was as good a game as I've seen this season. And the only thing was lacking was perhaps a little bit of finishing, but some amazing goalkeeping in both legs from both goalkeepers. I thought Donnarumma was incredible at Anfield. And so many good performances, commitment, pressing from both sides. I thought it had everything except for a lot of goals.
Do you know what it is though, guys? For all the praise, and they deserve it, PSG, I think it was back in, I can't remember whether it was September or October when they played Arsenal at the Emirates. I did the co-coms for that game. And PSG were awful. And I was thinking, they've got no chance of winning this competition on the evidence of that night. Arsenal beat them 2-0, I think it was, off the top of my head. And Arsenal were battered them. And I was thinking, really? But then they've just got better and better and better. And their 2 performances against Liverpool. And I know they lost the first game, but they shouldn't have. It was a fluke for Liverpool. But the other night, the way they quietened the crowd, the way they handled us, I mean, everyone on the ball, the way they played, their pressing, I just thought, yeah, they were a really, really good outfit. And as I said, it was 2 excellent teams going head to head. But I do think over the two games, PSG were the better team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you made a good point there, Alan, about earlier on in the competition. Sometimes in football, it's just about timing and it's about coaching as well. How many times have you seen, oh, they've not got this player or they've not got that player? Actually, if you work with players for a long period of time and they can learn what you're trying to do, buy into what you're trying to do, the team's going to become better. And I think in recent times with PSG, Luis Enrique was trying to do certain things. I remember seeing a shot of Mbappe on one side and Messi on another side, and they want the team to defend. But how can you only defend when you got them 2 superstars up front? Now, you see the players running back and tackling. So for a manager, it's a great base, to start from. But I really want them to go all the way now. I want them to win the Champions League and show everyone that you can do it with a team. Of course, Messi, favourite player, fantastic. But he couldn't do it when they was there. So it'd be nice if they could do it as a team,
So just for the record, for all the Aston Villa fans, you want Villa to get beat in the next round, do you?
No. I did not say that. I just said I'd like PSG to win.
Same thing.
Alan, what did I always say? Football is the winner. And if Villa go through, I'll be happy for the Villa.
I saw which made me think it'd be lovely to see Luis Enrique with the trophy, because I saw this beautiful video on social media earlier today, actually, and it actually had me in tears, talking about the fact that he lost his daughter. I think she was 9 years old, and he was talking really, really positively about how they deal with it, and that, he's got pictures everywhere, and we watch videos of her all the time. She said she's not here physically, but she's here in a different way spiritually. And it was such an uplifting yet moving interview that you can see would be the sort of person that you'd run through a brick wall for. Amazing. Really got me, actually. And I mean, he's done an incredible job. I don't think anyone at the start of this season with Mbappe moving to Real Madrid would have given them a dog in hell's chance, really.
Sorry, guys. Sorry to cut you off. Absolute nightmare. So, sorry, we're filming something behind the scenes with a Mr. David Beckham. And it was supposed to start at 7:30, but it's starting now.
They've brought it forward. Micah, we will have to do without you. Alan and I will soldier on regardless.
What will you do without me, eh? What will you do without me?
You will be badly missed, Micah.
Send our very best to Mr. Beckham.
Yeah.
We will do.
Do that. And I hope it goes well.
Thank you very much, sir. See you later, guys.
See you, Big Meeks.
A big blow for Liverpool, obviously, despite how well Paris Saint-Germain played, Alan, because they went into that game as strong favourites with a 1-goal lead, even though they were outplayed in the first leg the week before. And I suppose it's rotten luck, isn't it, when they won the Champions League stage, and then you end up having a really tough encounter against probably one of the other absolute favourites now in the competition. It could have gone either way. But I just wondered, just before we talk perhaps a little bit more in detail about where Liverpool are, whether it was possibly a good night for Newcastle in a way. The fact that it went for 120 minutes plus penalties, which is draining, especially the emotion of the evening. I hate to, it's really unfortunate, but they'll miss Trent Alexander-Arnold. I very much doubt he'll be involved in the final. So
I mean, I was trying to be as professional as possible whilst doing my core comms. But obviously, I mean, if Newcastle had have chosen that night, then they would have sent Liverpool all the way to extra time and all the way to penalties, in the hope that they'll be drained for the weekend. And I mean, it'll be harsh on players, whoever they are. If they're injured, if Trent's injured and Konate came off, it didn't look that serious, maybe a bit of cramp or I don't know. But if they have to miss the final, then, I mean, I wouldn't wish that on anyone, obviously. But for them to go all the way, and they did. I mean, they were running on empty at the end, which is totally understandable. So if going to extra time and penalties, then that would have only benefited Newcastle.
Yeah, they went very close at the end, didn't they? Salah had the one cleared off the line. There were a couple of other chances. There was a Quansah header, wasn't it? A fantastic save from Donnarumma, I thought. And his domination of the box as well, coming out a lot, was really important for them, because they're not a big side, PSG, and Liverpool have got some real towering individuals in there, particularly from set pieces. But then it went to the penalties, of course, and I felt a bit for Nunez. I think all of us watching, immediately I've got two group chats just talking about that game, one with my boys and one with us guys on The Rest Is Football, and everyone was going, "Oh no," before he even took it.
I know.
Because he's been out of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a good finisher, is he? I mean, we've said that before. So I don't suspect he was feeling or had the most confidence anyway. It
was a good save, though, I have to say. It was a really good save.
I mean, Donnarumma made two unbelievable saves, one from him and one from Curtis Jones. I think the Curtis Jones one, if I remember rightly, was down to his right-hand side where he got down really quick. The Nunez one was down to his left-hand side. But, we know what it's like. You've stood from waiting to take a penalty, and you're looking at the size of the goalkeeper, and the goal looks so small in the circumstances. You're not in front of the cop, you're at the other end, and it's a pressurised situation. And the keeper won that battle with those two, and he was brilliant during the game. You're right, I mean, he didn't catch much. He actually come and punched a lot. Even when he perhaps should have caught it, he thought, just got rid of it as best he could, and I thought he put in a great performance. Yeah,
he did. The one thing I'll say about Nunez is that he was prepared to take a penalty. And that takes, he was second up, and it takes, you've got to be gutsy to do that kind of thing.
Yep.
Particularly when you're perhaps out of form.
Exactly.
But yeah, so PSG all go through now, and they'll face Aston Villa. We can perhaps go on to that one next. And as they're playing them, they had that really good lead, 3-1, didn't they, going into the second leg? And then, of course, getting a red card for the Bruges lad. I think just at that point, any nerves that might have happened, perhaps by a Bruges goal, would have faded, and the fans could enjoy the night, and Villa enjoy the night, and they played really well from what I saw. Obviously, I was watching the other game, but I've seen the highlights and seen all the action. It looked like they were pretty dominant, as you would expect against a 10-man team.
It's just, I mean, we've said it so many times this season about the job that Unai Emery is doing. Is doing at Aston Villa. I mean, they're in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, quarterfinal of the Champions League. They're in with a real live chance of getting into the top 4 or 5 in the Premier League. I mean, unbelievable! What I mean, this could be an incredible season for Aston Villa. I mean, they're now mixing it. I mean, from where they have been to where they are now, they're now mixing it with Europe's elite. As you say, they're playing PSG. They're in the same. I mean, they could go all the way. I know they've got a tough game, but for them to be in amongst PSG and Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and all these great football clubs just goes to show what a job Unai's doing. It's incredible. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, even if they were to get into the top 4 or 5 again, if they got a trophy, oh my goodness, it would be unbelievable, wouldn't it, for them?
He's got a track record.
Yeah.
Unai Emery, certainly in European football, certainly in the Europa League, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But and of course, Aston Villa have won this tournament when it was known as the European Cup.
Yeah.
For those younger listeners, that's when football didn't really exist, obviously. But they've been there, done it before. Nowadays, I think it's tougher, because in those days it was just the teams that won the league that went into the competition, not the top 4, top 5. So there's more competition nowadays. But their recruitment's been really good over all the last few years as well, and particularly even in January.
Perfect. Very good.
Asensio has been a revelation. Rashford looks like he's enjoying himself and looks sharp and dangerous every time I see him play, and very creative.
Yeah.
So it's all coming together, because I think in the first phase we were all thinking, even though they were doing well, they were struggling perhaps in the league in the games that followed. But you look now and you think, actually, they've now got a squad to cope. You know, they've had one or two injuries, as all teams will do, but it just looks like they might be able to cope with that. Now, it's going to be a really tough quarter-final against what is an exceptional PSG team. But, you know, it doesn't mean to say PSG are going to play as well in the next round.
No, exactly. That play at the Villa Park will be absolutely rocking. You can imagine, won't it, the atmosphere that night. So, and that will turn them on. It'll get them all excited and have their juices flowing. And they've got a really good chance. Be tough away, but I think their best chance will be to go to PSG with a victory behind them, and that'll certainly help them. And I wouldn't put it past them, because, as I said, it'll be massive at Villa Park that night. We're doing that game, you know, already on Amazon. That's one of our games on the Tuesday.
Tuesday night, is that the first leg?
That's the first leg at Villa Park. Yeah. So it'll be brilliant. Really looking forward to that. So their recruitment to get rid of Duran like they did and bring in Rashford and Asensio and Marlon. I think it was top quality recruitment. It really has been. It's working perfectly for them.
Word on Asensio, who now play against the club that he's just come from, obviously PSG.
Yeah.
And he's had success in the tournament when he was at Real Madrid. That's the third home game in a row in which he scored 2 goals. It's not a bad start, is it?
Yeah, and of course, if he was in our cup competition, then he wouldn't be able to play because of the parent club, would he? But because it's the UEFA competition, he's allowed to play against them. So yeah, it's and he's had a great start to his Villa career.
Right. Did you watch the Madrid Derby?
Did I? Absolutely, I did. Yeah.
Oh, aye.
Tasty, wasn't it?
I mean, I think there's only one place to start, and that's the penalty shootout.
Oh,
Julian Alvarez. I mean, I'm sorry. I know to the absolute letter of the law, you might make a case that it did flick his toenail on the way in to go, and so it's double-footed. And VAR will argue that, you know, therefore it should be disallowed. That law was brought in, the fact that you can't touch it consecutively, to stop players just dribbling from the penalty spot. Mm-hmm. That's what it was originally for. So, and also you can't, and if it rebounds off a post, you can't put it straight in yourself because you'd be miles ahead of everyone else. So it was brought in for that reason. It wasn't brought in for some bloke taking a penalty in the most huge game, that incredibly important. Well, it doesn't matter what match it is, but who then puts his foot down and it slips on the floor, which is a disadvantage to start with. You're not gaining any sort of advantage. And then you shoot and it hits your foot. Now, even if it had hit his foot and changed the direction of the ball, it would have been something you could perhaps argue in that case. So I think 2 things. If they hadn't have done anything, no one would ever have said a word, because you had to look at it 100 times to see if there was any contact in the first place.
Well, I have looked at it 100 times, and I'm still trying to find the conclusive evidence that. But I'm totally with you. It's total and utter crap that a game of that size can be decided by that. It really, really is. I mean, he got back to the halfway line and no one had even... I'm totally agree with it. It's just, it makes me really angry that...
People in the crowd, I don't think they had a clue what was happening. I mean, the whole thing was so absurd. I mean, UEFA have actually made a statement. They also put out an image that they say shows that it might have flicked his toe. I'll read it out to you. Atletico de Madrid inquired with UEFA over the incident, which led to the disallowance of the kick from the penalty mark taken by Julian Alvarez at the end of yesterday's UEFA Champions League match against Real Madrid. Although minimal, the player made contact with the ball using his standing foot before kicking it, as shown in the attached video clip. Under the current rule, Laws of the Game, Law 14.1, the VAR had to call the referee, signalling that the goal should be disallowed. UEFA will enter discussions with FIFA and IFAB to determine whether the rule should be reviewed in cases where a double touch is clearly unintentional. So I think they do recognise from those words that it was utterly nonsensical and bloody unfair.
But doesn't it just show you that please let officials or whoever use common sense. And instead of playing everything to the rule or the law book, at times you should be allowed to say the common sense rule or law would be, okay, actually, I can't even barely see that. So there's no deliberate attempt to fool, con, do whatever you want to say. And common sense should have ruled that night and said, no, I'm not. We cannot allow that for all the reasons we've said.
This is where we are now, though, with it. It's
it is. It's bonkers, isn't
it? It was always just going to be, apparently, about just amending the odd really bad mistake. Now it's a forensic re-refereeing of pretty much every important incident in every single game, and it's become quite frankly utterly absurd.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not just the refereeing. The referees on the pitch, I feel for them a bit, and the whole thing, and they're kind of put into this position of VAR and the pressure that comes from everything around it. It's difficult, but referees are also defining the laws. They're taking over the game. I mean, I was always respectful of referees. I think they do, I think they've got an incredibly difficult job on the field of play. You always try and give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, they all make mistakes. Of course they do. They're human beings. We all do. But the way it's more the fact that I remember people when I used to argue, and I said, well, no, we need VAR for occasionally really bad decisions. And I'm as guilty as anyone for thinking that it would be okay. But we've come to a point now where they're taking over the game. It's become the game. And that's not what football is about. And it needs a rethink. I've aired my views on appeal systems. But
yeah, absolutely. I understand the law, and I understand that is the law. But there has to be an element for the referees to now and again apply a bit of common sense. And one of those was the other evening. There's absolutely no doubt about it. For Atletico to go out like that as they did, I mean, it is so bad. They might have gone out anyway. They might have gone out with the penalties after, but for that to happen in a game of that size, of that importance for them to go out for that way, for me, was so wrong.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. That aside, Atletico gave it a real go, and I was really pleased for Conor Gallagher. Yeah. What a start for him! His first Champions League goal for them
great,
against Real Madrid. Big game, big atmosphere.
I loved it. I loved watching it. You could. I haven't been in that stadium myself, and did a Champions League final in that stadium, the Corcoms. It is brilliant. What an arena that is. So, and you could hear it coming through on the television. And they give it a right good go, and you could see how animated Simeone was on the touchline right throughout the game. I mean, he plays the game himself, doesn't he? On the touchline, goes through the ringer, doesn't he? With his unbelievable attitude.
Have you seen the nickname that they've given to Conor Gallagher?
What is it?
El Pitbull.
Oh, El Pitbull. Brilliant.
Yeah, I quite like that.
But they give it a right good go, Atletico. But again, I mean, I know that Vinny Jr. missed a penalty and he'll put it high and wide. But
I think I just saw it landing behind you, Alan.
Yeah, it was that bad. Yeah, I had one like that myself once. But yeah, it's whether they were fortunate or what, it doesn't matter. I said on Corcoms on the Liverpool game, whoever wins this tournament, this Champions League, the new format, would have had some luck somewhere along the line.
Real Madrid seem to get it every year, Alan.
If they go on to win it, then they had their bit of luck the other night against Atletico to get through. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a break there. When we come back, we'll look at some of the other games. Welcome back to the Rest is Football. Just Alan Shearer and me, Gary Lineker, now because Micah had to leave because he had to do some work. There we go. Arsenal, I mean, they were always going to go through. I thought the most I found quite amusing part of the game was when Ivan Perisic equalised. 10 minutes after Arsenal had taken the lead, they were 8-1 down at the time, and he ran into the net, grabbed the ball, and ran to the halfway line. And I'm thinking, it was quite funny. I thought, crikey, you really think you're going to come back into this game at this point? And
Oh yeah. I had a little chuckle at that as well. That was rather funny. Yeah. What else are you going to do? I suppose, but yeah. And Declan Rice as well. When as if not to celebrate, and they had to run straight back to the touchline because of his celebration at the weekend. So I thought that was that was quite funny as well.
I suppose perhaps the positive for Arsenal, and we talked about him last week, didn't we? Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
I thought he did well. It was like the bit of the old Raheem going at players, beating them, getting crosses in.
A couple of assists, and will do his confidence the world of good after hearing the reports after the game, and he did really well, played well. So for him, I think going forward, that can only help him. And Arsenal are going to need that, yeah.
I'd love to see all their players fit up top, Saka maybe, for the Real Madrid games coming up now, because that would have been a real... I mean, he's obviously now going to go into the game as second favourites because, they're a little bit blunt at the top of the pitch. But you never know. They're a good side. They can keep the ball. But it's going to be it's tough-ass 2 legs against Real Madrid, but it's not the greatest Real Madrid team. They're not in the best of form, and they had scrambled through, and they got lucky a little bit against Atletico. Also, if you look at their form recently in La Liga, it's been very in and out. So, they're not without a chance, but obviously they will go into that game second favourites.
And I think, look at Arsenal's record in the Champions League, particularly at home. Look at their home record, which they'll have a proper chance of beating Real Madrid at home. And I think they're going to have to do that to stand a chance of going through because of how difficult it will be at the Bernabeu. But I wouldn't put it past Arsenal to beat Real Madrid at home. They're really, really tough in the Champions League at home. So
I read somewhere that Bukayo Saka might be back playing after the international break.
Right.
That'd be massive plus.
Huge plus, yeah. Huge.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that Arsenal, since certainly in the Premier League at least anyway, they haven't scored from any corners and not scored as many goals since he's been out the side. His delivery from the right and corner kicks has been
well. Even if he's on the bench, it'll be a great boost for them. So they've put themselves into a really healthy position in the Champions League. Arsenal. So yeah, it's they'll have a decent chance at home. But as I said, I think it's key they take a victory over to Madrid to stand a chance.
Definitely. Are you doing one of the games?
Yeah, we're doing the Aston Villa game, as I said, PSG on the Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday we're doing the Arsenal
in Madrid.
We're doing both home games. One's on one Tuesday and the one's on the other Tuesday. But Arsenal home to Real Madrid. Yeah,
that's 2 games to look forward to.
Amazing,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Really, really great games. Elsewhere, Alan, I don't think any of us thought Bayern would beat Bayer Leverkusen 5-0 over 2 legs. Harry Kane once again on the leaderboard. That's on the scoreboard. 10 goals in the Champions League this season.
Fantastic.
He's such a good finisher, isn't he?
Yeah, he's brilliant. I didn't see them winning that easily. Not at all. Not after watching Bayern Munich against Celtic in Munich. I didn't see that happening at all. I thought it would have been a lot tougher for them. But yeah, they've put themselves into a really healthy position as well. And Harry Kane again flying. He's a brilliant goal scorer.
He's a top quality player. Barcelona against Benfica. Quick word on Lamine Yamal, because oh my goodness, that goal he scored. He came in and it was just like he just floated it and he started it round. He bent it in the far corner. This kid's 17.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
I've got some statistics actually that I saw today on Lamine Yamal in comparison to Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. Right. I'll read these out. This is by the age of 17. Lionel Messi for Barcelona, 9 appearances, 1 goal. No appearances for the national team. Cristiano Ronaldo, 31 appearances, 5 goals, 6 assists. Lamine Yamal, 88 appearances for Barcelona, 19 goals, 24 assists, 17 appearances for the Spanish national side, 3 goals, 8 assists, and of course a European Cup trophy.
88 appearances for Barcelona.
88 appearances for Barcelona.
And he's 17.
Already.
It's like 17, that is ridiculous.
And he's scoring unbelievable goals, making assists out of nowhere. The kids. He's already the superstar. He's not the next superstar. He already is. He's extraordinary.
Frightening.
Love watching him play.
Brilliant. Yeah. I only relate. I go back to when I was 17, and it was like, oh my God, this is like amazing, the football. And how do you go on to the next game? How do you repeat it? And it was bloody difficult. But this young man is like, he's off the charts, exceptional, isn't he?
I've never seen anything like it at his age, and what season Rafinha's having as well. They're great to watch, Barcelona. I mean, they do play a kind of very brave high line at times, and they might get found out. It'll be worth watching. They've got Dortmund, of course, in the quarter-final.
Good draw for them, that, isn't it, Barcelona?
Well, they're on the good side of the draw,
yeah,
aren't they?
Yeah.
I think most of the big teams were on the left side of the draw as you look at it.
It's a good draw.
There was all three English teams, now only two, of course. Inter Milan comfortably beat Feyenoord over the two legs, and as we said, Dortmund are through as well. All that's left, really, Alan, is perhaps to look forward to the Carabao Cup. Are you confident? I'm nervous for you, actually. It's so tough having to play against Liverpool, but if there's a time to play them, perhaps it's this weekend.
I know. I got my tickets today, and it was like I looked at them and thought, and then it just got me all excited. And, I know it's going to be. Well, let's hope it's going to be a great weekend. I'm with you Saturday, match of the day, and then heading down to Wembley. But the extra time for Liverpool could only have worked in Newcastle's favour a little bit, and we might need that little bit. You never know. But if the Newcastle turn up, that can be nasty and horrible, and to play against and press and all of those things that they're really good at, which has helped get them to the position that they're in, then, who knows? Isak, Van Dijk is going to be a great battle. It really is, because you're going up against two quality players, and Isak's already scored against Van Dijk this season, as we know. But, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Who are you going with, Alan?
I'm going with my son and my daughter and her boyfriend.
Brilliant. I tell you what, a lot of people will be rooting for Newcastle, and no offence, Liverpool, but you've won plenty.
Exactly.
It's been a long time for Newcastle.
Liverpool have got all these trophies. They're going to win the league.
They're going to win the league.
Just give us this on Sunday. Come on.
Yeah.
Just come on for once.
Good luck, Al, and good luck to Newcastle. And that's all for today's episode. The rest is football. We'll be back on Monday reviewing that Carabao Cup final. Fingers crossed. And, of course, the 8 Premier League fixtures taking place over the weekend.
If Newcastle win that final, I haven't got a clue where I'll be on Monday morning. So,
well, we don't expect you to do that, but we're hoping you send us some live little bits during the game.
I will do.
That would be magical.
I will.
Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great weekend, everyone. Have a tune.